So wherever the protocols like LIN, CAN, FlexRay, Ethernet, we are able to access the data and we can monitor the data. Okay. So with the help of the data, we can able to develop the software. We are able to test the software, and we can do the simulation platform. Simulation means like virtual way. Okay, so CANoe is a comprehensive development and testing, and while testing, you are able to analyze the data. So graphical enough, one or more issues and the devices. And CANoe have the simulation tool where we can add the virtual nodes and ECUs to the network. We are able to see, right? There is a simulation node. We have the one lines and we connected all the nodes, and that is in term of is used. What are the input files of the CANoe? So .dbc file, .arxml file, .AUTOSAR, .atl file, .cdd file, and .ldf file. You need to write down the notes. What is a dbc file? So dbc file is specifically for the CAN protocol. So this is a CAN dbc. It is so it contains all the messages and signals so that are related to the ECU. It is used for mainly exchanging of the information between the other ECUs. And AUTOSAR is the automotive open system architecture. It is a dot file where specifically for the software variables we are able to monitor. So that is also one input file. .a2l file. .a2l file is the extension of the .asp2 description file, and the full form of this is the ASM MCD2 MC language. That is a A2L. It is a full abbreviation, and it contains all the ECUs internal software variables, and where we are able to access it via that CANoe tool. So we are able to do the variant coding and calibrations. And the next .cdd file. That cdd file is the Candela Studio description file, diagnostic description file. It is used for the diagnostics purpose. Going forward, we'll understand in better of this tool. And .ldf is the lin description file. This file have the messages and signals that we are aware about the lin protocol. And next, this CANoe file we are saving as a as a part of .cfg file. This is the extension of the CANoe file. You can write in points on this. What are the input files to the CANoe? What is the main purpose of the CANoe? And what we are doing in the simulation. These are important points about the CANoe tool. You can write a notes. Let me know once you complete it. So we will go to the next slide. If you complete, let me know. So, the input files, what are the input files of the CANoe ember? These are very important, I can say. So, mostly the interview questions, it will be like, what is a part of a CANoe, and what are the input files to the CANoe? What is the extension of the USBL file? What is the extension of DBC file? What is the extension of .ldf? What is the extension of .cdd file? So, what is the configuration file that you are saying in a part of a CANoe? So this and all they will ask you. You should be aware about this. Okay.
Yeah, done. Yes.
Is it completed? If you completed, let me know. So we'll go to the next topic. If you completed, don't wait. Please let me know.
Yeah, done, sir, my side.
Okay then. So shall I go to the next slide? Okay. So we talked about the measurement setup. So mainly the measurement setup is the one where we have the offline online connectivity, and we have the simulation setup. So just we'll understand few theoretical concepts, then we'll go to the further on the tool, how we are able to access. Okay. So now, like the tool, coming to the measurement setup, how we are able to access this. So we need to access, go to this, we need to go to the simulation, uh, we need to go to the analysis, and we need to go to the measurement setup, and we need to double click on the measurement setup. So this is the path we should go. And it contains, once the measurement setup is open, it have the offline and online mode. So uh, where it have the logging and graphical data and trace and scan statics, everything it will be there. So what is the measurement setup? So we are able to measure the values and the signals and the parameters of the messages. So that is for analyzing it. Online mode. Online mode is used to switch when the real hardware is connected to the CANoe, which will configure the baud rate, port configuration, and input files to the CANoe. Okay, and next is offline mode. Offline mode is used for the, it is not connected to the real hardware. It is used for analyzing the data and the values of the messages and the signals from the recorded log files. So whenever the CANoe you stopped, so you need to analyze those data. So with the help of the offline mode, you are able to do that. Okay, so that is about the measurement setups. What is the measurement setup? What is the online mode? What is the offline mode? So in interviews, they may ask you how you need to route to the measurement setup. So this is a one important concepts you should aware. So what are the measurement setup? What and all it contains? So you need to say that it contains offline mode, online mode, and logging, graphic and can so and the data and trace and can statics. Can you write down this? Give the heading of the measurement setup, and you can write down the same steps as in the notes. Okay. So we're going to discuss in the tool how, what are the importance of this tool, and how we are able to operate in the real time. Okay. You complete the sentence. So it's very important. In the interviews, they will ask you on this tool out, because everyone should aware on the tool. So to understand those tool, we need to understand theoretically first, then we are going with the a real understanding of what is online, what is offline. So that makes you clear on the topic. So let me know, so that we can go to the next slide.
Okay, sir.
What about Anil? Anil Vardhan. Okay, shall I go to the next slide? Yeah, coming to the measurements of the, we have other nodes as well. So the graphic node. So graphic is specifically like we are aware about during the graduation, like graphic specifically have the X and Y axis. Similarly, here also we have the graphic window for each and every signal. It have the X and Y axis. With the help of that, we are able to read, understand the signal value and the timing, how it is able to pull, and how you are able to send those signals to the ECUs, and how you are able to grab the signal values on the what is the triggering time, what is the milliseconds, what is the microseconds. So it is able to uh, access the values on the network. So that with the help of the graphical window, we are able to do it. So and coming to the data, so data is the one which we are able to see the units and the raw value or the parameters of the CAN message signals. And the next we have a trace. Trace is specifically for monitoring of the CAN messages and IDs and the initial values or the timing parameters of this. So CAN statistics, it is used to check the whatever the signals or the messages that you are sending. It is able to uh, is there any stuck on the bus network, so such things. It can be how many messages we are able to transfer, how I need to get that the information whatever we are saying, and whatever we are saying we need to store, we need to save on the fly. Okay, so that is about the CAN logging, CANoe logging. So here specifically the data of the CAN or the lane or any protocol data that you are able to monitor, so that should be logged. Logged is specifically like you need to store, view and store the data. So how that what is a logging? Logging is used to record the runtime data that are configured in the ECU. It contains the data of the messages and signals. It's related to any protocol. So in interviews, sometimes they may ask you, do you know about what is a logging? What is the meaning of the log? So you should aware on this and you need to give the proper information to them. And what is the log file? What do you know about log file? How what is the purpose of the log file? That may ask you. So log file is, you need to say that it is a historic record of everything and anything that happens within the system. So like whatever the messages we are able to transfer, what is the errors we are getting. So everything it will be recorded in the log file. So it is a output of the file of the CANoe. So the file formats of the CANoe is, these are very important, the logging and the format that you select. So that we can stored in the your window. So this is about the CANoe logging, how you are able to do it. And next is CANoe simulation. So we are aware that the nodes will be there on the network. So whenever you right click, you can add the network. So and moreover inside the node or inside the replay block. So there are few things about in interface. They may ask you how you insert the node, how you need to how you do create the IC block and all. They might ask you. So you should aware on this. So in the CANoe simulation, we'll do that activity. So inserting of the IC block, inserting of the network node, inserting of the replay block. So these are the options, whatever I'm saying, right? So insert of the IG block means it is interactive generator block. What is a RB block? It is a insert of the replay block and insert of the network node. So that may ask you in the interview question. So that we are doing in the CANoe simulation setup. So simulation setup, we have the CAN network to we are able to configure the nodes for the communication with the physical ECUs, because to communicate with the physical ECU means the real hardware, the microcontroller. It's we need to configure it in the simulation setup. Okay, so because the network or the data that we are able to access, so with the help of that we are able to do. And some of the controllers we don't have the real hardware, so for that we can create the virtual platform and we can do it the simulation. Okay, and next this is used so whatever we are doing the simulation or the without physical engine, we are running the virtual engine, right? So that is like software will feel that okay, the real engine is connected and real engine is running. So that way the real hardware will feel that, but we are running on the simulation way. So simulation is a model. So this is a one important definition you need to aware. What is a simulation? Simulation is a model that mimics the operation of the existing or proposed system and providing the evidence for decision making by different scenario or the process data communication within the network. So as we know, right? So no, these are the nodes. సో మనం పాయింట్ టు పాయింట్ ఒక నెట్వర్క్ నుంచి కనెక్ట్ చేస్తున్నాం అంటే లైక్ ఇట్ విల్ బి టర్మ్డ్ యాజ్ ద ఈసీయూ, ఇట్ విల్ బి టర్మ్డ్ యాజ్ ద డివైస్, ఇట్ విల్ బి టర్మ్డ్ యాజ్ ద పాయింట్ ఆఫ్ it device. This is also called as a node. So and whatever the linking of this is the protocol. So whether the CAN or link, whatever we are using, so this is a protocol. So these are in the part of the network. So remember, the network is nothing but when we are connecting the devices with another devices with the help of wire or wireless for communication purpose, then we call as the network. Okay. So this is a very important definition that we learned in the network concept. So here node is referred as a point. It is connection of the data communication within the network. And next we as discussed about a generator. So we have the keyword called generator. So generator used for sending of the messages to control the CAN network. So this is, remember, this is sending of the messages to control the and ఇక్కడ మనం మెసేజెస్ మాత్రమే సెండ్ చేస్తాం జనరేటర్. ఓకే. Next is right click on the network or some ngplex. So this we can go it on the tool and we can run it. So meantime you can write on and replay block. Replay block is used to replay the data. So manaku replay block lone keyword artham here. So that is for replaying of the data that have been recorded or logged data during the CANoe. So interviews lo meeku what is a replay block, what is the purpose of this ante మీరు ఇలా చెప్పాలి. సో రిప్లై ద data that have been recorded and logging the data during the CANoe. And next is a part of database. So database is all the messages and signal information it contains. It is the input to the CANoe tool. So next is how you need to add the database file అని interviews లో. So how to add the database in the network? Under the network, right click and add the database file. So ఇది మీరు చెప్పాల్సిన ఆన్సర్. Next, we have a channel. So channels are used for connecting of the controllers via the protocols. So these are the 5 important terms. Whenever you need to do some simulation, so this is a this node you should aware about the this subtopics, subpoints. Getting right? You can make a notes on this topic as well. Let me know once if you complete it, okay? So did you complete it, these points?
Yes, sir. Embedded.
So that's it, major topics about the CANoe. Okay, so like, there are other options about diagnostic tab. So this is mainly used for the diagnostics purpose. Okay, so like how they would sometimes they will ask you how you are doing the diagnostics in the CANoe, like what can you tell me the steps how you do. So under the diagnostics tab, we have the diagnostics ISOTP. Under that, we are loading the CDD file. So we discussed about the CDD file, right? So that CDD file we are loading under here. And moreover, we have an environment tab. So that environment tab is used for the system variables, and it is a mapping variables like for creating of the simulation. So మనం ఏదైతే ఇంజన్ కానీ ప్లాన్ లైక్ కెనోయి ప్యానల్ క్రియేట్ చేయడానికి ఎన్విరాన్మెంట్ ట్యాబ్ అనేది నెసెసరీ అన్నమాట. సో అండ్ వీ హ్యావ్ ఏ హార్డ్వేర్ ట్యాబ్. హార్డ్వేర్ ట్యాబ్ ఈస్ యూజ్డ్ ఫర్ మనం ఏదైతే హార్డ్వేర్ కనెక్ట్ చేస్తామో, సో మనం మన హార్డ్వేర్ యొక్క బాడ్ రేట్ని కానీ ఛానల్ యొక్క కనెక్టివిటీని చెక్ చేయడానికి హార్డ్వేర్ ట్యాబ్ అనేది యూజ్ చేస్తాం. ఓకే, సో these are very important tabs. Can you make write it down? So diagnostic tab, environment tab, and hardware tab.
Done, son.
Completed, right? Okay. So next, whatever the input we are giving, right, like the CANoe, .lin, other supported files, so that we call as a database file. Okay, so with the help of the CAPL, so there is a programming language. So with the help of the programming language, we need to access it. Okay, so an object is a database. So it is used to symbolically represent by the type of the data or the data values in the network. సో మనం ఏదైతే మెసేజెస్ సిగ్నల్స్ ఉంటాయి కదా, ఈ మెసేజ్ సిగ్నల్స్ అనేది మెసేజ్ నుంచి వస్తుంది. ఈ మెసేజెస్ అనేది మనకు ఈసీయూస్ నుంచి వస్తుంది అనమాట. బట్ ఈసీయూస్ అనేది మనకు నెట్వర్క్ కి కనెక్ట్ అయి ఉంటుంది. ఓకే, సో దట్స్ హౌ లైక్ ద కంప్లీట్ డేటాబేస్ ఆర్కిటెక్చర్ ఈస్. సో ఇట్ హ్యావ్ ద నోడ్స్ అండ్ ద ఈస్ మెసేజెస్ అండ్ ద సిగ్నల్స్. సో దోస్ ఆర్ కాన్ఫిగర్ విత్ వయా ద నెట్వర్క్. ఓకే, సో ఇస్ ఇట్ క్లియర్? So this we call as the environment variables. Okay, environment variables are the messages and signals and the network nodes, which are that are accessed and that you are able to configure it. So that we termed as the environment variables. Is it clear? And DBC file. So coming to the DBC file, so it contains all the messages, signals, and the values in it. Okay, so how to create the DBC file under, we are able to learn in more. Okay, so DBC file, it have more signals, and this will be a part of the CAN ID and the DLC. So the timing, cycle timing. So this information usually it contains in the DBC file. Okay, so sometimes you need to understand the DBC file like network or ECU or the nodes or the messages, the signals, what is the environment variable. So if anyone asks you what it is, a database file, usually it has the network, a bus network that contains all the multiple ECUs to exchange the data, and ECUs are specifically for the traction controller or ABS or cruise control, any radar or the camera, anything comes under a part of ECU. And node is just it is a interface or interconnection between one and the other ECU, as I told you. And message is the part of the transmitting of the data in the message, and signal is nothing but the values which carries the data. and the environment variables, which are input and output variable of the network node, such as switch position or the sensor signals or the actuator signals. So this will be a part of the environment variables. So in interview they might ask you what is the input, what is a environment variable, so you should aware. Okay, so going forward we can write it down. So like how you need to create the dbc file. So we need to define the network, we need to define the messages and its properties, and we need to define the signals of the can messages, and we need to define the units, and we need to define the signal values. So those are the things we should be considered for writing the dbc file. Okay, so what are the other things we need to write it down on the DBC file? So just this is the information like a whatever the data. This is the